Hi, my name is Dawn Hauk, and this is my lesson plan for Kennesaw State University Class 7430. I decided to co-teach a class with Miss Harrell, who is a fourth grade teacher, and we sat down and hashed out the objectives. We wanted the students to be able to learn how to blog using ELA writing standards as well as the NET standards. I thought it was important to model a blog to students while teaching them. Therefore, I created a blog of my own. I used the blog not only as a model, but also to demonstrate different skills to the students. I began by getting some information from my students and tying in Google Docs into the Weebly. By having them fill out this Google form, I would then be able to communicate with the students through their Google Apps for Education accounts and tie those things into the Weebly. Next, we talked about what blogging is. The students seemed mystified when I looked at their faces. Then we discussed something that they could relate it to. How about the TV show Dog with a Blog? I asked, what do you think that means? They took a moment to think about it, and then I had them take a survey. I tied in one of the Weebly survey tools into my Weebly blog. The next day, when they came in and we started class again, we did a little reviewing. I posted the results to the Weebly survey into the post. With the information that I posted, the students went into Google Sheets and created a chart and graph of the survey results. I also wanted to exemplify to the students that videos, especially those from YouTube, could easily be imported into a blog. They watched the blog video and were assigned to answer one of 8 questions that went along with the video. Here's the second video that I tied into my Weebly blog. Students were to figure out what a blog was, what the parts of a blog were, what the benefits of learning how to blog were, and they were going to respond on a Padlet. I told the students that they would be posting the answer to their assigned question to a Padlet, and that we were going to get to Padlet in a new way. Most of the students had not gone into the Google Chrome web store with their Google Apps for Education accounts. So we visited the Chrome web store and I showed them some of the extensions and add-ons that would be available. They did a search for the QR code extension and added it to their accounts. They went ahead and accessed the extension, and they learned that it would then turn on their Chromebook's webcam. At that point, they were able to take and scan the QR code that I had provided to them in the Weebly. Again, another tool that they could use to incorporate into their blogs. While exploring the extension to the QR code, they also noticed that it activated the webcam. So you'll see on the next slide that they figured out that there were other things that they could do with the webcam. So in addition to them posting to their Padlet, many of them also took their pictures. I wanted students to use their imaginations and see the benefits of learning how to blog and know that they're not the only child bloggers out there. I found a great website called Meet the Children Blogging About Their World. I had them go in and choose one child blogger to read about. I wanted them to find out what the child blogger mostly blogged about, what the benefits are, and what doors it opened in those children's futures. They recorded their answers to these 3 questions on a Google Doc. So once again, I've tied in Google Apps for Education into the Weebly blog. Here's a glimpse of what the Meet the Children Blogging About Their World website looked like. After reading the article on the child bloggers, students were expected to answer a set of 7 questions and share this information with me through Google Docs. In the next section, students visited a set of blogs, some of which belong to classrooms, some of which belong to other kids' blogs, and some were miscellaneous blogs that covered a variety of interests and hobbies. The students were ready to get started, so they learned how to sign in to their Weebly blogs and made decisions on the titles and the themes. I modeled how they would go about using the basic tools in Weebly. and I had them write their first blog. The next day I taught them about posting and asked them to post to my Model Weebly blog. They learned about the ABCs of how to post. I also provided them with some additional tips for responding to posts. And then, once viewing their blogs, I made sure to provide them feedback using the ABC method that we had talked about. I provided the students with a blogging and posting rubric for excellent, average, below average, and unsatisfactory, scoring either a 4, 3, 2, or 1. I wanted the students to be able to have ample practice at blogging before choosing a blog post that they wanted us to grade. I provided students feedback about their blogs, which gave them opportunity to edit and revise them. We discussed how blogs could be edited and revised, but not posts. Here are a few student sample blogs. This one's on video and computer games. This one, an animal lover. This one on fashion. This student chose to do one on book reviews. And this one's concentrating mostly on science fiction. And last but not least, I suggested to the students to possibly read some current events and blog about the news, especially if they were opinionated and enjoyed writing persuasively. We're now at the point in the blogs where students are beginning to implement some of the Weebly tools, such as the survey, and they're starting to implement some of the multimedia. Throughout each part of creating the blogs, I took each one of the mini lessons from the blog and I've created a checklist for the students to use. At the conclusion of their blogging project, they will be asked to fill out a blogging evaluation.